The Dallas Cowboys defensive tackle room is under the microscope, and let's be honest, it's a unit that raises more questions than answers. There's a reason this position group deserves serious attention. Beyond the top name on the depth chart, the confidence level dips quickly. If Dallas wants to be a true contender in 2025, this might be the group that needs reinforcements the most. Let's dive into the names, their roles, their upside, and whether they're ready to make an impact or risk being left behind. First up, the undeniable anchor of this group, Osa Odighizuwa. Fresh off a well-earned contract extension, Osa is the clear leader on the interior. His cap hit this year sits at just $6.25 million, a bargain for a player of his caliber. That deal will escalate in the future, but for now, it's designed to give Dallas flexibility while locking in production. And production is what Osa brings. He's coming off a career high in sacks and made noticeable strides in pressure rate and quarterback hits. He's disruptive, he's consistent, and in Matt Eberflus's new defensive scheme, which prioritizes dominant three techniques, Osa could be primed for an even bigger year. There's no debate here. He's a cornerstone. He's a lock. He's a problem for opposing offenses. Now let's shift to the biggest mystery on this line. Mazi Smith. Let's be clear. The Cowboys aren't cutting him. His cap hit is manageable at $3.62 million, and cutting him would cost the team over $2.5 million more. That's not happening. But cap space aside, the pressure is on. Smith showed brief flashes in 2024. Solid moments in games against the Giants and Falcons, but they weren't nearly consistent enough. Against the run, he had a few bright spots. As a pass rusher, virtually invisible. That has to change. The good news? For the first time, he enters camp with a clean bill of health. No surgeries, no delays, no setbacks. A full offseason under a new coordinator gives him every chance to step up and prove why he was a first-round pick. Because if it doesn't happen now, Cowboys Nation will start asking the tough questions. Last year, Mazi Smith was trying to survive the chaos, a rookie adjusting to NFL speed, recovering from surgery, and bouncing between defensive systems. It was never going to be smooth. Think about it. He played in one scheme at Michigan, then went to Dan Quinn's defense, followed by Mike Zimmer's brief input, and now it's Matt Eberflus running the show. That's 4 different voices in just a couple of years. For a defensive tackle, it's like being a quarterback constantly handed new playbooks. Confusion becomes the norm. The concern? Mazi hasn't had one stable offseason, no consistent coaching, no unbroken path to develop. And now he's learning yet another system. That's why the Cowboys' depth at the one technique position feels dangerously thin. Let's talk about it honestly. What's your confidence level in Mazi Smith? Rate it from 1 to 10. Now, enter Solomon Thomas. The veteran free agent comes over from the New York Jets, reuniting with his old defensive line coach, Aaron Whitecotton. The fit is clear. At $2.72 million against the cap, the Cowboys aren't bringing him in just to take up space. Cutting him would save less than $500,000. And unless something goes terribly wrong, that's not on the table. Thomas has bounced around, from the 49ers to the Raiders to the Jets. At times he's flashed potential. His best fit? As a rotational 3-tech, providing a spark off the bench. He's quick enough to shoot gaps, strong enough to hold his ground, and versatile enough to bump outside on long passing downs. But here's the truth. He's a backup, nothing more. The Cowboys are banking on him to spell Osa Odighizuwa and help in high-leverage passing situations. But if Osa goes down, this unit quickly becomes one of the weakest DT groups in the NFL. That's the razor-thin margin Dallas is dealing with. Now let's get to the rookies, where upside meets uncertainty. First up, toia, the 7th-round pick out of UCLA. Big body, big motor, limited expectations. For now, Toia stands at 6 feet 2 inches, 342 pounds. He's built like a wall and plays like one too. His job is simple: stop the run. At nose tackle, you're not asking for sacks. You're demanding disruption, clogging lanes, and soaking up blocks. If Toia can do that for 20 to 25 snaps per game, the Cowboys will call that a win. But he's not alone. The team also added Tommy Akingbesote, Tommy A, from Maryland, another 7th rounder with a similar frame and cap situation. These two rookies are essentially on equal footing. Neither has guaranteed money, both are long shots to become starters this year, and both are seen as developmental run stoppers. Tommy may have shown more splash plays in college, especially in tackles for loss, but like Toia, he was never known for his pass rush prowess. The ceiling? A dependable rotational piece who can help shut down interior run lanes when called upon. There are flashes of potential in the bottom half of this defensive tackle depth chart, but let's be real. Most of these guys are lottery tickets, not proven contributors. Let's start with Tommy Akingbesote again. Physically, he looks the part. 6 feet 3 inches, 306 pounds. The kind of frame you typically see in a 3 technique, not a true space-eating nose. His college tape shows glimpses of explosiveness, but he's raw. He's not NFL ready right now. Ideally, the Cowboys give him a developmental year. Either stash him on the practice squad or keep him on the 53-man roster in a redshirt role to protect him from being poached. Long term, maybe he earns reps as a rotational interior pass rusher, but he's not someone you want seeing serious snaps just yet. Next up, Perrion Winfrey. A recent addition from the UFL, Winfrey is getting his shot at redemption. He enters with experience, but also baggage. Off-field concerns that derailed his early NFL stint. Now he's likely being evaluated as a possible 3-tech backup, not a full-time contributor. He's under 300 pounds, so asking him to play nose is out of the question. While his athletic profile does flash traits reminiscent of Jay Ratliff, Ratliff was an outlier. You can't bank on finding another one like him. Winfrey has a steep climb ahead, and it's likely he's competing for the final DT spot, or a slot on the practice squad. His chances depend on consistency, both on and off the field. Speaking of practice squad candidates, Denzel Daxon is next. Undrafted out of Illinois in 2023, Daxon is part of the International Player Pathway Program, meaning he doesn't count against the 90-man roster and gets a bonus spot on the practice squad. Unless something wild happens in camp, that's where he's headed again this year. Then there are a few edge players who could rotate inside on passing downs. Marshawn Nealand, entering year 2, has the strength and burst to slide into the interior in 3rd and long packages. Peyton Turner, a recent acquisition, also has that inside-out potential. Both offer creative flexibility if the defensive line needs juice. Ernest Brown is still on the roster, but realistically, he's fighting for preseason reps, not a spot on the final 53. Now comes the tough part. Let's grade this defensive tackle room. A, B, C, D, or even F. Let's not sugarcoat it. Right now, this group looks fragile. You've got one sure thing in Osa Odighizuwa, a high-motor, high-ceiling interior disruptor who is locked in long-term. That's your bright spot. Solomon Thomas? Solid depth. Reliable vet. But he's not someone who moves the needle. The real problem? Nose tackle. Once again, the Cowboys are walking into a new season relying on Mazi Smith and a mix of rookies to hold down the middle. And if that sounds familiar, it should. This is the same exact formula Dallas used last year. Smith, a couple of late-round picks, and a whole lot of hope. What happened then? Come August, they were scrambling to find help. It feels like déjà vu. And unless someone steps up fast, history might repeat itself. Let's face it, the Cowboys can't afford to ignore this position any longer. We've seen this movie before. Training camp gets closer, bodies wear down, and suddenly the team is left scrambling to find anyone who can plug the middle of the line. If this front office waits too long again, they'll be picking through leftovers, just like last year. So here's the real question. Do the Cowboys need to add another defensive tackle? Yes or no? Be honest about it. Now, there are names out there, but none come without baggage. Raekwon Davis has the ideal size, no doubt. But his play last year in Indianapolis was flat out underwhelming. The physical tools are there. The production isn't. Linval Joseph, a steady vet who could give you a handful of snaps without becoming a liability. But he's near the end. Depth, sure. Long-term answer? Not even close. Other options? Armin Watts, Maurice Hurst, Clelin Ferrell, Taven Bryan, Austin Johnson. If you know these names, congratulations. You're deep into the DT trenches, but none of them scream difference maker. At best, they're snap eaters. At worst, they're stopgaps. Some fans have floated a return for Jordan Phillips, but let's be clear. That bridge is burned. That door's shut. A trade? Sure, in theory. But the problem is always the same. Good and available rarely exist in the same player. Here are a few names you might be able to pry loose. Zach Pickens could become the odd man out in Chicago's rotation. He's more of a 3-tech, but worth watching. Broderick Martin in Detroit. Former third-round pick, built like a tank, but hasn't delivered. Jordan Elliott, once a high pick, still carries some upside. Shai Tuttle has become expendable after Carolina's recent additions. Tyler Lacey, a developmental guy who could shake loose from Jacksonville. But let's be honest, none of these names bring major excitement. They're more about patching holes than building strength. And that's the problem. If Dallas doesn't act soon, they'll be caught in the same late summer panic. Again. Because unless someone unexpectedly steps up in training camp, this defensive tackle room simply doesn't have enough. And deep playoff runs aren't built on hope. They're built on the trenches.